Welcome to another podcast that's audio only, and this is hopefully helpful if you're, operating heavy machinery. Maybe you're driving an F1 race car around the block and you can't be looking at videos while you're doing your daily life, and so I'm hoping this audio only podcast will be helpful. It's kind of like multitasking. I had one viewer comment on an earlier podcast that she plays Candy Crush while listening to me. So I thought, man, if I'm making the cut that I'm part of her day, I'm pretty honored. So thank you for joining me, and I'm hoping you're going to get value out of this one today. I'm going to take a slightly different approach. I've written a book called Print on Demand Secrets, #shameless plug. It's on Amazon. If you search for Zen Watercooler on Amazon, it'll pop up. It's called Print on Demand Secrets. And what I wanted to do, I've always wanted to do an audiobook. And it's a lot of work to create an audiobook and then list it for sale. So I thought what I'll do in this case is I'm just going to read chapter 1 of the audiobook. And that way, if you're interested in buying the book, great. If not, hey, you've got a free chapter. Hopefully what you find in this podcast will be valuable. And really in the first chapter, I talk about 5 critical skills you need to succeed. And so I was thinking about how to do this podcast. And I thought, well, heck, why don't I just read the first chapter of the book? Because I cover in that first chapter what I think are the core values and the core skills that any successful print-on-demand person needs. So with that having been said, let's jump in to chapter number 1, 5 critical skills you need to succeed. The internet has changed our lives in ways that we could not have possibly imagined when it was first invented. As you start and grow your print-on-demand journey, there is one very important thing to remember about the internet. It is unlimited. This is a big deal when it comes to print on demand. So I like to use a farming analogy. We all eat food, and food comes from a farm. If you drive by a cornfield or a vegetable farm, you can see that the farm is made up of land. And there's a finite, limited amount of real estate that makes up the farm. Now imagine if you had a farm, but you could make it as large as you want. The farm could be 100 acres, or 200 acres, or 5 million acres. That's how I look at print on demand. You can go to Redbubble, which is a popular print on demand marketplace site, and upload 60 designs a day, every day, for years. Some Redbubble sellers have 100 designs. But there are some stores on Redbubble that have over 1,000 or 2,000 or even 5,000 designs. And they continue to grow. Their farm is huge. When you first start out on Merch by Amazon, which is another huge print-on-demand seller, they stick you on tier 10. And this means that you have 10 slots for designs. That's a pretty wimpy farm. So eventually, after making some sales, your farm on Merch by Amazon grows to tier 25 and then tier 100, meaning that you can have 100 designs. And each design goes on multiple products, so a tier 100 designer on Merch by Amazon can have 6,400 total products available. So we'll get into each of the platforms in more detail later on, but overall, you can trade time and energy for farm size. You have an unlimited amount of digital real estate to play with. So right out of the gates, I want to stress that you can get really good at print on demand if you do the following 5 things really well. Skill number 1, get good at making designs. If you can learn how to use photo editing or imaging software like Adobe Photoshop or Affinity Photo, that will really help you with your chances of selling designs. Even if you don't buy software, there are free tools like Inkscape, for example, and I use that all the time to create great-looking designs. A common question that I get is from people who don't have a computer. If you don't have a computer and you can't access the higher-end software like Photoshop or Inkscape, that is okay. Just be aware that you won't be a master of every single type of design out there. There are different design styles, and you just need to figure out which style or styles you can actually make fairly quickly and which styles look good in your purview. I'll give you an example. I consider myself a pretty funny person. I like watching stand-up comedy, I like funny movies, and I enjoy a good witty pun. So I think that's a skill in the print-on-demand world. I'm pretty good at finding a funny saying and putting it on a t-shirt. If you give me a picture, I can usually come up with some funny sayings. So here's a basic picture that I found online from a public domain website. Then there's a picture here of basically a pheasant that's got the huge plume in the back. It's an old public domain photo. The picture of the bird is an old illustration from a book called Indian Peafowl from 1806. It's not exactly hilarious, but what if we took that illustration of the peacock and removed the background and then put some funny text on it? So all the new design says is, rock out with your peacock out. The popular phrase, rock out with your cock out, is slang for party hard without regard for consequences. It's the base for this design. It's funny because it sounds rude and naughty, but really it's not actually saying anything rude at all. It's a bit naughty because obviously the word peacock is alluding to a cock, which could make someone think of a penis. So naughty stuff typically sells. So what else could we use that sounds similar? Well, here's a design on merch by Amazon, and it's an apron, and the apron says, rock out with your crock out. And it's a pretty simple design. Crock pot lovers unite. There's finally an apron that's as naughty as you are. It's got a picture of a crock pot on it. I didn't design that one, but it certainly looks like a good idea. It's simple, easy to see from a distance, the text is easy to read, and it's funny without being offensive. With this design, you're aiming for items that appeal to a broad audience, but feel like they're naughty or subversive. Items that are cool win you a big advantage when selling print-on-demand products. The advantage for the buyer of a print-on-demand product is that they can go to a site like Redbubble or Merch by Amazon, and they can pick from literally tens of thousands of designs. They can pick a design with an orange font, a blue background, a light or dark picture, or a very specific image. So even if there are 400 crock designs on Merch by Amazon, you as the seller still have a decent chance of making a sale. And it's not costing you, the seller, anything other than your time and energy. In the old days of t-shirt selling, you had to either buy a t-shirt press and then crank out a garage full of shirts on the hope and dream that someone was going to buy them, or you took your huge bulky t-shirt press and your inks and your designs and your shirts to a local mall or a flea market and set up shop for the day. This was the original print on demand before the internet existed. You would go to a mall and then select a design on the wall, and then the guy running the store would fire up the t-shirt machine, and within about 15 minutes you had a freshly pressed t-shirt. So now you can bypass all of that. Redbubble's warehouses are not filled with millions of t-shirts with designs on them. They're filled with t-shirts with no designs on them. So when a customer makes a purchase, Redbubble then pulls the right blank t-shirt and prints the design on it. And then it ships. The customer gets their brand new t-shirt, Redbubble makes a sale, and the artist gets a commission. It's win, win, win. Skill number 2 is to work faster. Now it's easy to say work faster, but what does that actually mean? Well, we all have 24 hours in a day, and you don't want print on demand dominating every waking moment of your life. Burnout is a real thing. I get questions from people all the time on the Zen Watercooler YouTube channel that goes something like this. I've lost my job and I need income. I've spent 18 hours a day, 7 days a week for 3 months creating designs. Nothing is selling. I need money. How can I make more sales? So first of all, that is way too much time to be spending on print on demand each day. It's way too much time to be spending on anything each day. I totally understand if you've lost your job or if you need extra cash, but I want to point out there are easier ways to make some extra money. Like you could put an ad online and go help someone move furniture, for example, Or you could do custom work on Etsy selling wedding cake toppers or invitations. Heck, you could even start a YouTube channel, upload a boatload of videos about something that you're an expert on, and make ad revenue after a few months or a few years. The point is, spending over 90 hours a week on print on demand to get $5 in sales is generally not a cost-effective use of your time. So the answer to this dilemma is to get faster at making designs. This really serves two purposes. Number one, you can have more designs uploaded onto sites like Redbubble, thus increasing your chances of making sales. Or number two, you can work less during your day and actually spend time working on other more productive things or just enjoying your life. In other words, your daily output or your weekly output is the same, you're just spending less time doing it and thus freeing up more time for other things. So how do you get fast? Well, there are a few different ways. First one is templates. Using templates is the dirty little secret in print on demand. A template is just a file that you save and then you open it up again and again. And each time you use it, you change it slightly. So an example that I can bring up is in Photoshop, you could make a circle with an American flag and then a year. So for example, it would be a circle, the year's 1986, and then there's an American flag underneath. So that's a design that would look good on a t-shirt or a coffee mug. If you were born in 1986 and you were born in the United States, or you're just a fan of the US, then this could be the design for you. However, using a template, you could easily switch out the year. By simply replacing the text, you could have 100 designs, 1987, 1988, 2002, 1776, 2001. And by replacing the flag, you could have another 200 designs because there are about 200 countries in the world. So there are also state flags and other elements you could easily add. So even if you just exchange the country flags, this one design template could make 20,000 designs. And that math is that there's 200 countries and there's, say, 100 different years or elements you could use per country. So that's 20,000 designs. If you add in colors, the possibilities are literally endless. Another way you can get faster is by having a learning mindset. Now, if you're a child or a teenager, then you're probably used to learning new things. For example, you sit in school and you learn ideas and facts all day long for years. But when we become adults, a lot of us stop learning. So what can happen is that our brains get stuck, and if something new comes along, we become resistant to learn that new skill. If you see a new software program like Photoshop or Affinity Photo or Inkscape, and the thought of learning how to use it makes you cringe, well, you're not alone. It's often frustrating and confusing trying to learn how to use new software. However, putting in the time at the start can really pay off down the road in the future. Learning how to make high-end artwork with multiple layers, or creating effects like lens flare, shadows, and textures can really add an element of professionalism to your artwork and greatly increase the chances of you making a sale. Be patient with yourself when learning new skills. Remember, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. Another way you can get fast is with organization. Being organized is probably the least exciting idea ever. However, with limited time in the day, that means that every second counts when you're designing. If you have an hour free in the evening, you want to be in a position where you're using that hour to design, not trying to find a file that you saved on your computer 2 months earlier. An easy way to be organized is to bookmark images and vector websites that you regularly visit. So I have folders on my computer that are clearly labeled with different elements like borders, flags, silhouettes, fonts, and much more. If I'm making a design that needs a US flag, for example, I know exactly where it's located on my computer. And if I need a design, I know what my top 10 websites are that I visit regularly all the time to get silhouettes, vectors, and high-quality images. So time really is money, or at least the potential for money. Another way to get organized is to have folders of the designs that you're making. I typically will have folders labeled AA Photoshop, AA JPEG, AAPNG, and BB Finished in my main folder in Windows Explorer with my images. And as I work through my designs, I place my finished images in their respective folders. Using this method, I can batch produce designs. The slowest way to make a design is to create one design, close out your photo editing software, go to the print-on-demand site and upload it. These are two totally different skill sets, creating and uploading. What is much quicker is to batch produce your designs. So for example, just spend one evening using your image software like Photoshop and make 20 designs. The next evening, upload and publish your 20 designs. This is a much quicker use of your time, and it's better than switching gears and doing two different processes in the same evening. These may sound like small things, but this is the difference between working efficiently and working inefficiently. Small, incremental improvements will yield big results, especially over a long period of time. By getting fast, you can reap some great benefits. This leads me to the third important piece of the print-on-demand puzzle. Skill number 3, make a lot of designs. Print-on-demand is a numbers game. The more designs you can have for sale, and the more products that are enabled with your designs, the better the chances are that you'll make a sale on any one of those designs. Every design that you make and upload is like a lottery ticket. If you buy one ticket, the odds that you're winning are extremely small. However, if you bought 200 million lottery tickets, your chances of winning would be significantly higher. The same is true with print on demand. The chances of you making one sale off any one individual design is microscopically small. It's virtually zero. However, if you have 80,000 products online for sale, the chances are actually quite reasonable that you would make one sale every day, or every other day, or maybe once or twice a week. So if you're feeling intimidated by the thought of 80,000 designs, don't be. One of the best features on a site like Redbubble is that you can put up one design on about 90 different products in Redbubble. So if you have 1,000 designs and each design is on, say, 80 products, well, that's 80,000 designs on products that are available for sale. And Redbubble is just one platform. Another example is Displate. Now, they're a print-on-demand company that sells metal posters that you can put designs on. And they have 3 different sizes: medium, large, and extra large. So that means that every time you upload a design into your Displate store, you're actually pushing it onto 3 different products. So it's pretty obvious that making a lot of designs is tied to success. The more designs you can upload, the better your chances of making a sale. So how is this a skill? Well, it's a skill in the sense that in order to have a Redbubble store with 4,000 designs or a Displate store with 5,000 designs, you need discipline and dedication. This means adopting a worker-like attitude to this endeavor. Print-on-demand success takes a lot of effort over a long period of time. What typically happens is this. Joe uploads 50 designs. Joe waits for sales. 1 month goes by, sales don't happen. Joe gives up and moves on to something else. So the problem is that potential customers aren't looking for your print-on-demand designs all the time, every day, all day. You might go months without selling that funny cat design, and then 1 week you'll sell 3 products with the funny cat. Now, of course, seasonal designs like Christmas or Halloween sell better at certain times of the year, but I cannot tell you which of my 10,000 or more designs are going to sell on any one day. Out of my 10,000 designs, I might sell 10 to 15 per day across all my platforms. And that would be like Redbubble, TeePublic, Merch by Amazon, Displate, Zazzle, Etsy, my own websites, custom orders to friends, products on Facebook Marketplace, and so on. So if you can get to the point where you're selling 10 products per day, every day, that would amount to about $30 per day, assuming an average of $3 US per commission per sale. Now that might not sound like a huge amount, but $30 per day multiplied by 30 days in the month comes to $900 US per month. So using that logic, if you were to sacrifice 1 year of evenings and weekends and figure out what works, you could increase your monthly income substantially. Plus, if you actually enjoy designing and selling print-on-demand products, then it's not really a sacrifice. It's a hobby that you enjoy. And plus, any money you earn is truly a bonus. Skill number 4, identify niches. One of the most fundamental rules in business is that in order to be successful, you have to create a product that matches what customers actually want. You can have the greatest location for your store, and you can have amazing prices, and you can be open 24 hours a day. However, if you're selling a product that no one is interested in, you will quickly struggle. If you want to be successful in the print-on-demand business, you need to create designs on products that people actually want. Now, there's a rule that's used in marketing called the 80-20 rule. It's also known as the Pareto principle. It's used across many different genres, like staffing at work or sales funnels, or even crime and pollution statistics. It basically says that 80% of the output is derived by 20% of the population, 80-20. So what does this mean in print on demand? Basically, it means that if you upload 1,000 designs, almost all of them will not sell. Yes, you heard me correctly. Almost all of your designs that you upload will not sell. About 20% of your designs will account for about 80% of your sales. Now, some people even skew the number even more, and they call it a 90-10 rule. So for a lot of us creating print-on-demand designs, 90% of what we create and upload will not sell consistently. This means that 9 out of every 10 designs will be duds. And then the 10th design is the one that will make some consistent sales. I've uploaded over 5,000 completely different designs, and I continue to upload all the time. And I can say that I probably have 10 to 20 best sellers. These best-selling designs are ones that consistently sell every week, at least one design. So it's a very small percentage of the overall designs that sell for me. The other designs will sell too, but very sporadically. I can't count on those sales, but it is great when they happen. Now, why do we care about the 80-20 rule or the 90-10 rule? The key here is to not get discouraged if you upload a few hundred designs and then see that they're not selling. That is actually normal. Most designs uploaded by any of us do not consistently sell. You need to do everything in your power to increase your chances of making a sale. That means that you need to make designs for niches that have some customer demand, but low competition. This is one of the most overlooked skills in print on demand. There are 2 main factors at play when looking for a niche that will help bring in sales. Factor number 1, how much customer demand is there? Factor number 2, how much competition is there? On most print-on-demand marketplace websites like Redbubble or Etsy, it's easy to see how many listings there are. However, it's more difficult to determine how much demand there is for a specific search term. You can't see what customers are looking for. You can only see what's listed for sale. So you can use tools like Merch Informer and Google Trends to see how many people are searching for a particular phrase or keyword, but it will still just give you some information to help you make an educated guess. Knowing that we have incomplete information, one strategy that I use is the fishing strategy, and it goes like this. I find a niche that I think might have good demand. I create and I upload 30 designs into that niche. I wait a little while, like a month, to see if I make any sales. And when I make a sale, I make more of those designs. In the long term, I pay attention to the sales that I make. I spend time reviewing my sales reports and I understand what designs sold. When I make a sale, that is the universe telling me that someone out in the world parted with their hard-earned money to buy something that I created. The universe is telling me to make more of that design. Ideally, You want to find niches with high demand, but little or no competition. Now, if you find a niche with a ton of customer demand and no listings, then stop listening to this podcast immediately and start uploading designs. That is the holy grail of print on demand. I've found this sort of niche a few times, and I can tell right away if it's working because I'll start to get sales almost immediately. Eventually, I'll see multiple sales a week. Now, when this happens, it's obviously very exciting. I remember the first time this happened, I was on my couch looking through print-on-demand sites and noticed there was an entire genre of designs that were popular on Etsy, but they were not popular on the print-on-demand site that I was looking at. So I created 10 or so designs. I uploaded them to my print-on-demand site, and within a couple of days, I was getting like 1 to 2 sales a day. So I was pretty surprised. I regularly make 5 to 10 sales a day out of that niche, even now, years later. So when you get a bestseller, you can also expect some copycats to come out and either steal your design outright or come up with a variant of your design to try to cash in on your bestseller. If you do get a best-selling design, consider registering the copyright so you can protect your intellectual property. And I've got more on that later in the book. Most of us, when we first start out making designs, don't really think about the customer demand part. We're artists, and we're usually thinking about what we want to create, but not necessarily what customers want to buy. This means that if you spend your time creating funny cat designs, chances are high that no matter how good the quality of the funny cat design is, you probably won't sell very many. The reason for this is because the niche is completely saturated with literally hundreds of thousands of funny cat designs. And I can read your mind. Funny dog is pretty full too. And you probably did not dream about spending hours a day making specialty niche designs. Like, for example, virtually no one as an artist would get excited about creating 10 birthday designs with the year 1979 and a raccoon, for example. So you can run into low sales or no sales on the other end of the spectrum. I've seen designs that are so niched down that I can't imagine anyone would ever buy them because virtually no one exists in that specific market. Here's an example of how you can go from very general to an incredibly specific niche. You start off with an employee. Then you can specify an office employee. Okay, what about a male office employee? All right, what about a 45-year-old male office employee? 45-year-old male office employee who works overtime in the file room. Now, no offense to the middle-aged man who is the weekend worker in the file room, but that's a pretty specific niche. You might find that special someone out there who wants that exact t-shirt, but most likely you'll not be selling 10 or 20 of that product per day. So ideally, you want to find a balance where there is consistent customer demand, but not very many competing listings. Skill number 5 is continuous expansion. If you've ever played a strategy computer game, you know that the key to winning is to expand your empire. You need to grow your population, expand your army, take over the neighboring countries, expand, expand, expand. Now, the big myth about passive income is that it is passive. Set up your store and sit back and smoke cigars for the next 10 years as the money just rolls in. Well, not quite. There's an old joke about passive income. Making money while you sleep? Well, you work for 18 hours a day to make the money while you sleep for the other 6 hours. Okay, so it's not very funny when you're burned out, which is a real thing in any business, and print on demand is no exception. So the key here is continuous growth. This means a little bit each day, or every other day, or every week. I do not work on Redbubble, Displate, Merch by Amazon, Etsy, Zazzle, my own website, Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Printful, This New, and TeePublic every single day. I'll pick something and work on it every day or every other day. There's simply not enough hours in the day to do all of it. I also work a full-time job, and I like to think that I have a life with friends and family. And yes, I admit I even like to watch the occasional dumb TV show. It's important that the print-on-demand hobby for me is fun, and that means working on it when I want to. Now, as soon as I say fun, I know that some people might read that and immediately scoff, thinking that print-on-demand is a business and we're not here for fun, and if you put in enough hours, you'll achieve success. Now, that is probably true, but I think the reason that I think print-on-demand should be fun is that as humans, we don't like to work on stuff that isn't fun. So if you try it for a few months and you find yourself resenting the work, then either take a break or maybe move on to something else that is more fun. The reason I say fun is that if you're going to work on this for months and months and possibly years, you need a reason to want to work on it. Hopefully you have some graphic design skills and you enjoy creating things. So in order to expand, you need to do two specific things. Number one, you need to upload regularly to print-on-demand websites. So in other words, you need to grow your total products for sale. And number two, you need to regularly expand your knowledge and/or skills in the graphics design field. So a couple of uploading regularly examples could be 4 hours every weekend or 2 hours every other day. You don't need to kill yourself working on this all the time. But what typically happens is that people get excited about print on demand. They read books like this one, or they watch YouTube videos like the ones on Zen Watercooler, and then they upload like crazy for a couple of months. However, the sales don't come right away, so they get discouraged and they move on to something else. So I would strongly encourage you to have regular goals that you can control. Have the goal of uploads, not sales. You can't control sales, but you can certainly control the number of uploads. For example, if you're starting on Redbubble, make the goal of uploading 1,000 quality designs all in the same niche. Full warning, this is going to take time. You might do 3 designs a night. That means in order to get 1,000 designs in your store, that will take a year. If you get your store to 1,000 quality designs in one niche, your store could be known as the IT store for that niche. If you love coffee, for example, you could make 1,000 designs featuring coffee. And then you can also double niche as well. So for example, you could have coffee plus cats, or coffee plus a city name, or coffee plus a profession. The other way you can expand is through your knowledge. When I first started with print on demand, I was not very skilled. I knew how to use Adobe Photoshop barely, and I did not understand niche marketing at all. So over time, I learned how to find niches that sell. That's expansion of knowledge. I learned some cool Photoshop techniques. That's expansion of knowledge. I learned how to use Inkscape, which is a free vector software program to create high-quality, crisp images. I learned how to use sites like Pexels and Creative Fabrica to grab high-quality, professionally made design elements and incorporate them into my designs. My graphic design skills worked in tandem with my niche-finding skills to help me make sales. The point is, I didn't just upload some funny cat designs that a lot of your competitors will be doing. If you continue to grow your skill set, your design quality will grow and improve, and eventually you'll stand out among your competition. You will make sales. One more point about expansion. The goal should be to create designs that are easy for you to make, but difficult for other people to make. For example, if you're really skilled in Photoshop, have a decent computer with sufficient RAM, which is like memory, and hard drive space, and know how to use airbrush techniques. And then you can just pull public domain images from a variety of sources and use all that to quickly make stunning works of art. And if you do this, you'll have a huge advantage over your competitor who's making text-only designs with their smartphone. Now, the text-only designs can be quickly and easily copied by anyone, and they are. You might have seen YouTube videos advertising, make $5,000 with text designs. Well, technically it's possible, but let's think about this logically. If you went onto Redbubble and you saw a great text-only image, Why would you pay a $20 premium to Redbubble, because they have a markup, when anyone with an iPhone could just make that design, upload it themselves, and order the shirt for themselves? Plus, they could leave the shirt design up and sell it themselves. In other words, the barrier to entry is completely zero. The easier the design is to make, the easier it is for anyone to make that design. Ideally, you want to be making designs that are easy for you because of your increased skill level, but very difficult for other people to make. So for example, I use Photoshop quite a bit, and it takes me about 5 minutes to make a really good design. When I pull public domain images in and I say remove a sky, I replace the sky with a nebula, I add in a planet, I flip the reflection in the water down below at the bottom of the image, I remove part of the planet. In other words, I make a really cool science fiction design. But if you don't know how to use photo editing software, what I just described would be a nightmare to try to figure out. What takes me 5 minutes might take someone else 5 days. It would take a novice hours and hours to make that design. So your goal should be to get good and fast at designs that will blow people away, and they'll be happy to buy that design instead of trying to reverse engineer how you made it. Quick summary. Skill number 1, get good at making designs. Skill number 2, work fast. Skill number 3, make a lot of designs. Skill number 4, identify niches. Skill number 5, continuous expansion. If you can master these 5 skills, you'll be unstoppable in the world of print on demand. It's pretty easy to get 1 or 2 of these skills, but mastering all 5 does take a lot of time, energy, dedication, and commitment. So really, there's nothing quote-unquote lucky about this. There's a formula to success, and this book outlines exactly what it is. You can do it. I'm living proof of this. Let's dive into my personal print-on-demand journey. Okay, and we'll stop there for today. I really hope you found this podcast helpful. And if you enjoyed this, feel free to hit that like button, throw a comment down below. And if you're interested in purchasing the book, it's called Print on Demand Secrets, and it is available on Amazon. Just type in the word Zen Watercooler, and the book will pop up on your local Amazon site. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your support of this channel. And most importantly, I hope you get value out of this. That's my whole goal with these channels. Check out Zen Watercooler and also Crafty Stacks. I've got 2 YouTube channels up. And again, the book. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for listening, and good luck with your print-on-demand journey. I do believe in you.